Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this has touched your lips, and your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is purged. Isaiah chapter 6, verses 6 and 7. When men like Isaiah see themselves in the divine light, they cry out like the prophet that they are undone. The word undone means justly doomed to death. In the light of the throne of God, which Isaiah saw, the prophet learned that he was a moral leper, that his people were moral lepers, and that they altogether were as vile as King Uzziah, who was a leper. 2 Kings 15, verse 5. If in the presence of a thrice holy God, the Lord of hosts, the sinless seraphim had to veil both their faces and their feet, how hopeless was it for a moral leper such as Isaiah to stand in such a light. He needed a cleansing and a covering of his sin. The living coals from off the altar of burnt offering symbolize the fire of the wrath of God and the blood of the Lamb. When brought into contact with his unclean lips, removed his iniquity and expiated his sin. There is no other way of cleansing and expiation than through the wrath of God and the atoning blood of Christ. These are revealed and glorified at Calvary. There God judges sin infinitely and eternally in the person of Christ. His precious blood, there shed, is the one and only perfect expiation for and covering of sin. The modern church must come back to the place that it knows and understands that the problem is sin, as the problem has always been sin. Understanding that, and understanding it properly, it will then come to realize that the only answer for sin is the cross of Calvary. Paul said, But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down at the right hand of God. For by one offering he has perfected forever them who are sanctified. Hebrews 10, verses 12 through 14.